also, just to, again, come back to another topic, I mean, the chat platforms in Asia are effectively another form of user acquisition, right? So you're paying it in a different way, but by leveraging those chat platforms, your app or game is more viral and therefore is in front of more people. So you didn't pay for it from an install, you're paying it from a, revenue share, but it's another tactic to get in front of more people. And I think it's pretty interesting when you look at the Supercell or the King. King's been around a while, but it hasn't been a household name. A year ago you might have considered these indie players, right? And they've still found a way to the top. And I think, as Quincy said, like, starting with a great game is the right place to start. And some people, whether it's they get lucky or they found the right kind of guerrilla tactic to get in front of people, I think there's still room for innovation, but it is more challenging.
What I've seen with folks like Rockstar, if you played their ports that they've done with Grand Theft Auto, what Rockstar has is a huge brand, right? It's like Warner Brothers has these really huge brands, and they can come out with a game and they're going to get user acquisition just based on the brand. But if the game's not good, you're going to lose it, right? It's going to go away. And those titles that they're making, they're pay to play. There's no freemium in there. There's no advertising happening like that, and the users don't expect it. They're hardcore gamers that way. But then you have folks like, I'll go back to Handy Games, where they have the pay to play model, but that's to get rid of the ads, right? And at the core of it all, in their games, they have in-app purchases that you can do. And that's where they're really making their money. And the reason that they're keeping their players, beyond having really good games, like Clouds and Sheep, you're tending a flock of sheep. And this is a huge title. And it's not just because it's a very simple game and really cute, but it's because what they do on the updating. They are consistently listening to their user and updating their apps and giving them what they want. If something isn't selling in their store, if they're trying to upsell these little things, purchases in their app, and it's not selling, they tweak it a little bit. They're really looking at those analytics. And so, yes, you can have an app that users will pay for, but you need to do more than that. You need to have both sides. You got something that's freemium, something that's premium, and give the user as many options as possible, and still look at those analytics and keep the users interested.
I'll be quick. How many people here watch Mad Men? All right. So next time you watch Mad Men, I want you to think about the prices that they charge. And the reason I bring this up is that, to the earlier point, yeah, there is an increased cost in user acquisition from where it was a year ago to where it is now, but so has everything else in terms of advertising. User acquisition is not the first time it's happened. It's been around for very many years, and because of competition, because of the way the market performs, it's going to increase, just like Mad Men. So again, it's not something new, and it's going to evolve with the market. But I don't think there's any one like someone that's making that evil for the rest of the growth. It's just part of the market.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely part of the market. But is anyone willing to put out a number what the average CPI is right now for a paid install?
I would love to, except I don't have a live game right now, so I'm not actually buying installs.
Okay, how about I throw a number out there and everyone can say higher or lower? I heard last week $6 CPI.
I've heard lower than that.
Wait, is everybody higher or lower? Higher or lower for $6 CPI. This is a good one. Higher or lower? Raise your hand. Higher.
What's a CPI? It stands for cost per install.
Cost per install.
iOS or Android? Less? You said less?
It really depends on the game. Yeah.
It is a good question.
Depends on the game, depends on the platform.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not unreasonable if that the LTV of that game is $10. So it really depends on, and it's fairly fragmented. So the ad networks that service us, they take our orders. We have all the different targeting parameters. And if we have a really qualified user that we want who's been playing games for 10 years and shells out a lot of money, yeah, we'd be willing to pay that much. But if you're saying industry average, that's high.
You also have to keep in mind the genre. Like if you're trying to get a game that's super Space Marines fighting Dark Elves and Dragons probably is going to be very
I
high.
love that game.
I mean, the people here probably like that game, but I'm going to say the rest of the population
Needs
might
more
not.
sparkles.
There it is. Needs more sparkles. But for a game like Candy Crush, which appeared in the latest Psy video, like
Yeah.
that user acquisition is much cheaper. Like that video's going into the billion views, and like
Yeah.
if you back that out in terms of the CPI of being in a Psy video, then it's probably not whatever cost it is. It might be 50 cents. So I think it's hard to say, oh, there's one CPI and it's for everyone. It's more like, are you doing Space Marines versus Dragons, or are you trying to get yourself in a Psy video?
And is there $6 CPIs? Yeah, there are. I mean, is that what everybody's paying?
Probably even higher as well.
Huh? Yeah, probably higher as well. I mean, you know, it depends again. I think a lot of it to me will come down to, you know, is that user going to give me a lifetime value that's higher than what I pay for them? That's going to be the question I'm always going to be asking, because if it's not, then I'm not building a great business.
Okay, so yeah, let's one more question, and then we're going to open up to questions from the audience and make sure we have plenty of time for that. Right now, it's pretty much all iOS and Android, at least in the U.S. A little different in other countries, but not that much different. Do you foresee any time in the future there being a viable third platform for games? Mobile games, by the way.
Yeah, I really believe that. I don't know if anyone saw the Xbox announcement today. There was a huge play in the way they actually presented that versus the way the PS4 did, which is really to talk about the platform, Xbox One, where entertainment from watching a Hulu video to playing a game to go into mobile devices are now interconnected into one. So I mean that's a big play for mobile in terms of Microsoft and what that platform is going to do. And then on top of that, I think we're just scratching the surface in terms of what augmented reality and virtual reality is doing. So if you've seen the Google Glass, like if you haven't, it's just a huge different market. And then virtual reality with the Oculus, it's also very different. And for those who haven't seen it, it's kind of hard to describe how that's going to change the way we view things. And that's, again, just another quote-unquote platform that's waiting to emerge in the mobile environment. And for last-minute things, I highly recommend someone watching the Nikola Tesla pitching to VCs on YouTube, which like the buzzwords they use and the way that like they describe it from Nikola Tesla is very perfect into how we view the marketplace today.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to add to this last question? Caryl?
Yeah.
I wouldn't count Amazon out as another third-party, but Android, mostly mobile platform. I think that they understand how to distribute, and since discovery and distribution is so challenging in the mobile marketplace, if Amazon can figure that out, they could become a fairly formidable source of new applications. They have a pretty interesting process. They actually have a different review process than Google Play does, and it's kind of an interesting process to go through, and it'll be fun to see where that goes. But I definitely think that's a viable third-party platform, even though it's still Android. It's just a little bit of a different flavor of Android.
Awesome. Hey, Nate, do you have anything? Yeah. Hey, so, at this point, we'd like to turn questions to the audience. It's just incredible that you guys have come to hear these outstanding insights. Does anybody have any questions? I'll bring the mic into the audience at this point. All right.
Hello, sorry. My name is Tiftat, CEO and co-founder of my own indie game company. We're called Big Head Mode. We make personalized games that start you and your friends. So a question for the game developers. If you guys had no budget, so let's say your boss came, the CEO came to you and said, no budget, no ad budget, you can't cross-promote from any of our other games, what would be the most important thing for you to focus on?
Again, I'm going to go back to focus on my game design. I want to make a game that is more fun, more engaging, more exciting, doesn't rely on analytics for being fun. Like if I can't make a game fun on its own with no analytics, then no amount of analytics is going to help me make a fun game. And I would spend all of my time doing that. I would hire the best designer I could possibly find. I would hire the best art director I could possibly find. And I would set them to work to make their dream and figure out how to make something that they just passionately cared about. And that's going to be what's going to work for me. I mean, I just wouldn't worry about any of the other stuff. Like I wouldn't even worry about setting up an analytics server in that case. You know, I don't need to spend my money on that. I'd rather spend the money on the designer.
Great. Okay, next question.
I was just going to add to that a little bit. I think it comes down to the game design, but I think a game design that's naturally viral can be a big advantage just because it addresses the user acquisition issues. So to use an example, I mean, I'm a big fan of Zynga's new Running with Friends, but to me it's kind of forced viral. I'd like to just be able to play it myself to some extent and kind of invite who I want as opposed to not be able to play it without that. So I think, if you were kind of starting from scratch, you could clearly start with a cool, fun game mechanic, but if that also happened to be naturally viral, then that would be a great combination.
That's really funny because I just don't even consider that anymore because that's a part of mobile games for me that I take for granted. Like there's no chance I would make a mobile game that didn't have a virality component to it.
And what I've seen, since I'm a really avid gamer, what I always look for and what I would want if I had all the money to spend out there would to make it as simple as possible. I want the gameplay, I want any kind of gestures going on, I want it to be freaking simple. I don't want complication in the UI, and I want the developer to have tested this thing, tested it over and over again, so I don't run into problems that I run into with a lot of games. I play a lot of games. But I want it to be really simple and functional. It always works. And yeah, be a good game, but super simple and have it play tested.
Great. Okay, well, we have time for one last question before the bar opens. I'm going to introduce you to
Gerard Sergio. I'm CircleSoft. My first mobile application was a $200 million CPI. It was the heads-up display for the space shuttle in the 1970s. I'm wondering, will the gaming developer community embrace a new type of corporate structure, such as a Mondragon co-op or just a plain ordinary co-op, where there are no people in the organization that are higher than a director?
Have you heard of a company called Valve? Because that's kind of their strategy. They even have like desks that you can cart around to wherever you want to sit, and it's worked very well for them. To say that for the general public, it's definitely not
the public, no, the developer community.
No, Valve is like less than 300 people still, and they've made Valve. They make games like Half-Life and Portal, and pretty big. And they've perfected that formula for quite some time.
I'm just going to add, read their new hire manual. They have an employee manual, and you can read it. It's about 30 pages of awesome.
So just to make sure that got on the broadcast, so the audience member is like, read the manual, the Valve manual, the employee manual. All right. Hey, I really want to thank our panel tonight. Hey, we have Quincy Jones of Stormate.
Not
Jones.
Jones.
Jones? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Caryl Shaw of KIXEYE. We have Mike Liu of GREE. Nate Jones of Warner Brothers. Mike Huebel, of course, of Immersion. Bob. Oh, God in heaven. Bob Huebel of Immersion. And Jeff Scott, Editor-in-Chief of 148Apps, joining us here tonight. I'm Martine Paris, I'm your event producer. Thank you all for coming. We have the bar open. We have food coming out, and we have the sponsors with amazing swag. If you see what I'm wearing, Immersion has this for you. And drink tickets are at the sponsor tables. Please join us next month, June 26th, Wednesday, for our next Pocket Gamer Mobile Mixer. We have Sega, we have Capcom, and we have other amazing companies. So check out Pocket Gamer at Eventbrite for the invite, and looking forward to seeing you next month. Many thanks.